Hello and welcome back to the Novice Lumberjack, where I'm going to show you a few easy little modifications for Modified Monday. And what we're going to be talking about is the Polands. Again, I know that for a lot of you guys it's beating a dead horse. I'm talking about Polands constantly, and I really like them. And I'm not going to get rid of all my Polands, not by a long shot. But I am fixing to switch gears here pretty soon, and we'll start tackling something else. I think I want to get into the Echoes a little bit, but the Steels, they just command an audience, you know, and I'll probably snatch something if I can. But anyways, that's another story. On with Modified Mondays. So what we got is the beautiful 330. My gosh, this is a really nice saw. I really like this saw. So anyways, what we're looking at here, first off, is muffler modifications. So inside there, we have this basic tube. Up at the front, there are holes. You can see them a little bit right there. Yeah, there you go. You can see them. Right. So the exhaust gets forced out, hits a wall, and then goes through those holes, through that screen, through the backside of this little itty bitty tube right there, and then out over here. Now, Ben Hall, he's another YouTuber. If you haven't looked him up, look him up. He's got some cool videos. He does a 380 and modifies it quite nicely, and it's quite the ripper. Anyways, point is he's got a good video on how to muffler mod these things. And it's great, but what he does is he puts a port over here, and then I think he ended up putting a port over here on the front cover, and that's great. That's one way of doing it and everything. But Gary B, he likes these Polands. He told me about another option I didn't even know. So this is the more modern version. It's really corked up, and you have an option. The older version had this front cover, and you can see there's some cracks in it. I might have to do some spot welding, but it has an exhaust exit right there through the front, right? And so by adding this older front cover to this newer muffler, you get automatically a dual port muffler. So you got the port up front right there, the port in the back right there. The only thing I haven't done yet is I haven't cut this tube out, which I will get to. But as far as building a pipe or anything like that for this saw, I can tell you I'm almost 100% certain I will not do that. It's just so nice. It's so nice and clean. It's a really clean saw. But as some of you know, because you were betting against me on eBay for this saw, I had to pay a pretty penny to get it. I paid $285, I think is what it was, to get just the saw, and then the shipping on top of that. You know, it was like $320 total. So it wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap at all. But I'm really happy with it. It's a great runner, great little saw. But before we get on to the next part, hey guys, I just did something I wanted to share with you guys. And I don't have my tripod here, so it's all handheld. And that means I can't show you while I do it, but I can tell you. So here's what I did. Doing the Woodsman whack-off, I needed this bar, which is made for Husky. And I needed it to fit on these, the big block Polands, right? Because it's we're running the same bar. Anyways, so in order to adapt it, so these bolts here, they are too big, right? Or I'm sorry, they're too small. And now they got an awkward thing with them to where the threaded portion is whatever size, and then it swells up. It swells up a little bit on this stud portion. All right, so you can see my spacers there. Isn't that nice? So what I did was, first off, you've got to get the oiler to oil through this hole, not that little hole right there that Husky uses. Husky uses that hole. we got to get it to oil through these holes, which the chain tensioner actually goes in. So all we did was take the Dremel tool, right, with one of those little cut-off discs right there, and went straight down inside that. And oh, come on, there we go. You can barely see a little hole right there. Well, it just breaks through that other side. There you go. That's all you got to do. Bam. So you cut a little slit in there. All right. Next up. So I got this a long time ago to experiment with and everything. So this is brake line. I believe it's 3/8 of an inch brake line, but as you can see, the paper's gone. I have no way of knowing. I took my handy dandy little teeny tiny pipe cutter and I cut off a little slice, and then to get it to go on, all right, I put the slice on, and then I used this and I banged on this end, boop, 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 and it went up over the swelled up portion of the nut. All right, so now it's on there good. It's really nice and solid. Getting them off would actually be a bit of a chore. I mean, it would happen pretty easy, but still, it wouldn't just, they don't just fall off. And then I took a flat file and filed the top and the bottom just a little bit. I tried to be as careful as I could not to hit the case here, because that'll cause a place for an oil to leak. But anyways, now the bar fits on just absolutely. My gosh, it's like baby bear's bed. Hold on. There you go, very nice and snug. And there is almost no play in that at all. It really fits well. So, I'm very happy with this. And if you're wondering, this right here will still work on a Husqvarna now. I mean, the Husqvarnas, they seal up around here, and it won't leak. At least I don't think it will. But anyways, really nice setup. Now I can run the bar and chain that I want. The one thing that you do have to keep in mind here is the distance between this and this right here. It is possible that if my chain was loose and stuff, it could possibly come close to hitting this. If it did, it would just rub it out, and that's fine with me. But I don't think that it will. But before I put those spacers on, it tilted so much that it definitely came close. So I'll put the chain on real quick so that you guys can see. Okay, there we go. We're actually on. It's in place. And yeah, you can see how if my chain was to get loose, how it might rise up and take a chunk out of that. And I don't think that it will, but we're going to find out. And if it does, that chain will cut right through that. That's no problem. It'll dull the chain. I don't have to resharpen the chain, but oh well, you know. But yeah, fits. It's good. All right, later. But before we get on to the next part, which is how to adapt a large mount Husky bar to these things, right? I want to talk just a little bit about, obviously you guys, if you've seen the last video, you know that I've been going through all my saws and running them all through a 14x14 red oak cant. And if you notice, I mean, well, you haven't noticed yet because you haven't seen any of it, but you'll see whenever I do those videos, this Wednesday, you should get your very first Woodsman whack-off. I love that. So you should get your very first ever Woodsman whack-off this coming Wednesday. And anyways, whenever you get it, you'll notice that the 14x14 red oak cant is split in half. So you've got two 7x14s butted up against, sandwiched against each other to give the 14x14. The reason for that is
It's red oak, man. Red oak's best firewood I've ever used. And some of you guys were talking about how, oh, that would make nice slabs. With red oak, man, it splits, checks, cracks, whatever you want to call it, so much. I've learned it's not worth dealing with. You can get some use out of it if you cut it really thick, but it's going to cup, it's going to warp. It does not make for good woodworking material. Anyways, but it makes for great firewood. So by splitting it in half like that, every time I do a slice, a cookie, all right, I'm doing 2 7x14 slices, and that works for great firewood. So I can still burn that. And I will say, so I've been touting this 330 and the Binford Bad Boy. I finally got the Binford Bad Boy in the wood. The real Binford, not the Binford, I'm sorry, I keep screwing that up. The actual Poland Bad Boy. The Binford Bad Boy is the one that I made for myself, where I took a 380 Super, or a Super 380, the 60cc version of these Polands, and I painted it all up purple and green, and that's my personal saw. I'll show you real quick. So as pretty as it is, now I haven't really truly released it to the channel yet because I haven't finished the stickers yet, but as pretty as it is, this will be my #1 firewood saw and stuff, and felling saw probably, because it's a great saw, it's a great runner, but anyways, a lot of people see it, you know, friends come over and they see it and they're like, whoa, because it's astonishingly pretty. I mean, the paint, fucking, whoa, the paint looks good, man, and it's sticking too. No sign of anything flaking off of that plastic. I did a good job. Very happy about that. But I am going to use it. I'm going to work it and use it. And so I will modify it heavily. I think I'm probably going to send it to Joe, Dino Joe. But I got a little bit of work to do before I do that. I don't want it to be on his channel without the stickers, because once it goes on his channel, you know, everybody will see it. You know, more people will see it, and they'll be able to see the gains that it produces and stuff. So anyways, that's the Binford Bad Boy. But I got the real McCoy right here. All right. This is the one that I got from you, Tim. I got it finally going. It's still got the messed up cover on it because I didn't want to put a nice cover on it until I knew for sure that exhaust wasn't leaking and things. But I got this in the wood, and I will say that it did not disappoint. It did not disappoint. But what I wanted to tell you, because like I said, I'm rambling. I do that. All right. The 330 and what is essentially the 380 without a handbrake, or chain brake, I mean. But the 3750, I've been touting these as really good saws. Well, I will tell you guys, because, you know, most of you guys that are watching the video like this, you're kind of getting to know me on a personal level, and I really like the interaction. I really like you subscribers. It's really fun. I'm sorry I can't get to every comment. Normally, if you notice, whenever I'm commenting, it's probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've woken up and I can't sleep, and so I'm commenting. So anyways, but I've been saying that the Bad Boy is just as good, if not better, than any other 60cc saw in its category. And by its category, what I'm talking about specifically, you're like somebody mentioned a 562 XP. I wouldn't consider that its category. There's some serious advancements to the 562 that this saw doesn't have. But would I consider a MS, what is it, MS 290? Yep. Yep, I would consider. Wait a minute, is the 290 I think that's 55 cc's, or is it? They made one of those, you know, the 039 and the 390. The 390 I think is like 65 cc. There is a 60 cc in there in that range too. But yeah, I would say absolutely this is going to be right there in that category. The Husqvarna 61, right there. That is in its category. I would even consider the Timberwolf, the 590 by Echo. I would consider that in its category. I don't know if I would consider the 620 in its category, because, you know, advancements. Anyways, but my point is both of these were tested. All of these saws were tested, and they were all running the same wood, 14 inches of red oak, and all using the exact same chain. Well, the little guys used a 325 pitch chain, but they all used the same chain. Same size bar, same chain, same exact chain. And what I can tell you, because you've waited this long, I've rambled enough, you deserve to know. The 60 cc bad boy handled the 61 handily. I mean, it took care of its business and said, no, I'm outcutting you. And it also, the 330, the 54 cc. Now, I just was in the editing and I was just stopping, I was pausing and counting. You know, I didn't truly have them side by side, so I don't know. The 61 could have beaten the 54 cc 330, but I don't think it did. I think the 330 beat it. And I haven't even done the muffler mod fully yet. My Husqvarna 61 has a full muffler mod. It's fully opened up and it runs good. So this one is still a little bit corked up. And if it didn't beat the Husqvarna, it hung right in there, and they were neck and neck. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the actual Woodsman whack-off of these two. I'm not so looking forward to seeing the Woodsman whack-off between the bad boy and the 61, because I know the bad boy beat it. Yeah, beat it by like a couple seconds in a 15-second cut. You know, I mean, it really, it beat it. So, anyways, another one that's interesting. Hopefully this one will be the very first Woodsman whack-off, and it will be between the chrome bore versus the bare bore 54 cc Poland small blocks. And because that's very interesting to me. I always assumed that the bare bore was not going to get as much RPM as the chrome bore. And, well, I'm going to make you wait and see if I was right on that. But anyways, okay, I've rambled enough, and I've probably edited in the other part of the video, which is the how to adapt a Husqvarna large mount to these old Polands. It's really easy. Though a brake line really works well. The only thing I will say about it, it's semi-permanent, seems like, because those brake lines really go on there tight. Now, to get them off shouldn't be any big deal, because those brake lines, I think, are just made out of aluminum. So if nothing else, you could just hold a chisel on there and whack it with a hammer and cut them, and they'll come right off. But they want to stay on there. They don't just fit on and off easily. But it worked good, worked great. Oh, and if you hung in there this long as well, you will know that I was wondering whether or not that chain was going to hit right here. It did not. I don't think at all. No, it did not. That's just maybe scraped a little bit of paint off right there. Anyways, please like and subscribe, and look forward to Wednesday, where you're going to see the first ever Woodsman whack-off, baby.